Hi, welcome back to another episode of Johanna Banana. It is episode 27. Yes, 27. I can't believe my episodes are going to be about. We're probably going to do over 30. I keep saying I'm going to stop, but then I'm out and about and I film things and LB and I get silly and we do some funny videos at work that I want to share and that sort of thing. So God, I can never stop my YouTube channel. I want to try, but I keep finding cool videos and stuff that I want to share with you guys. Anyways, so who knows when I'm going to stop. But I am done with my guys. Now, let's do the recap cap thing. I'm just going to borrow this, my little hat. Here we go. Because Ada looks so good in that recap hat. I don't think I can wear that anymore, so I'm just going to wear the switches hat. Okay, so something incredible happened to me yesterday, last night, and I was so excited about this message that I got from one of my cousins that I even we called my aunt. I'm sure she was in bed. Sorry, I see. This is me. I get so caught up in the moment that I kind of forget, and I forgot the time, so I kind of called her and like woke her up for a little bit. Anyways, so sorry, but I was so excited because one of my cousins. So let me backtrack, lay some foundation down. Okay, so now, as you know, I have stated that when I was 3 weeks old, I was born in Colombia. Don't worry, I'm legit. Okay, I became a U.S. citizen at 9. But I was born. I always say that because there's always some conservative people out there, that are like, "Are you a citizen?" No, I'm not mooching off you people. Okay, I'm legit. My dad did it the legal way and paid a lot of money. Okay. Anyways, sorry. I just get so mad at people that get so conservative. Anyhow, let's lay down the foundation. I was 3 weeks old. I was born in the capital, Bogota, in Colombia. As you know, my dad was in the Peace Corps. He was in the Peace Corps. They stationed him to Colombia. That's when he got the calling, like all clergy people get. I don't know what that's like. I don't know what that feeling is, but you feel the call to the Lord. Anyways, that's where my dad got the calling. That's what they call it, the calling. Yeah. Although I used to have a running joke because my dad was a shepherd and he would like train other people, and I thought, I don't think they got the right calling, Dad. I don't think they're meant to be a priest like you. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I used to run a joke and say they would get the wrong number. That's what I would say. I think they got the wrong number, Dad. I don't think that was a calling. But anyways, that's what they call it. So my dad was in the Peace Corps. He got the calling. He also met my adoptive mother when I was in the Peace Corps. His first wife he met. She lived in Colombia. He went to in Colombia after he got the calling in Colombia. He went to Puerto Rico. That's where he went to seminary in Puerto Rico, and then he went back to Colombia. He had an Episcopal uh, English Spanish speaking church is what he was running that church, and that's when he adopted me. Now, why am I adopted? The reason they adopted me is because, like I'd mentioned before, my mother had paranoid schizophrenia. Um, Other family members had it in her family as well. And so her sisters did, I don't know, there's like 6 sisters, and like 4 out of the 6 all have it. So they just didn't want to risk passing it down to somebody. So yeah, they were very, very responsible. And they wanted to have a kid so badly. So they adopted me. I was 3 weeks old. And now I was 3 weeks old. I think it was either 9 months or a year when we came to the States. So last night, one of my cousins, and I believe he still lives in Colombia, I'm not sure, I think he does, sent me some pictures that Aiden is going to be posting at the end of this clip. I hope you get those pictures in, Aiden. Please, Aiden, because there are some times where we don't get these pictures in, and I really want these pictures in. Okay, so my cousin from Colombia. Oh, I should also lay down another foundation. My adopted mother that lived in Colombia, she did pass away. She was in a mental hospital for the rest of her life. After she left, there's just such a long story. Okay, so let's back up again. I'm so sorry. My childhood is a little complicated, so let's just back up. I lost my track. Okay, so my dad in Colombia, he adopted me 3 weeks old. I was either 9 months or a year. We came to the Bay Area. As like I said before in my Father's Day episodes, the schizophrenia came out a lot. She would take me and, anyways, my dad felt it best when I was 3 years old that she go back to Colombia. So when I was 3 years old, my adopted mother, and I think that's why I refer to her as my adopted mother, and I always call my dad, is because I didn't know her. I really didn't. She was only in my life for the first 3 years of my life, which who freaking remembers the first 3 years of their life, right? And so I don't have any memories of her, so I do refer to her as my adopted mother, okay? So when we were in the States, that's when she went back when I was 3 years old, and then my dad was a single dad by the time I was 3 years old to the time that I was 9 months old, okay? And then that's when I met my stepmother, the only grandmother Aiden ever knows. Grandma is how we refer to her. But my family, the way I have to do, I have my dad, then I had my adopted mother. I had 3 surrogate mothers. Aiden met one in Georgia. Let's see. Then I had Barb, my stepmother. So, I mean, I've had so many different roles. But when I got these pictures that my cousin sent me, and then hopefully you will post them at the end of this clip.
Yes.
This is the first time that, because I always referred to, and I always felt weird saying that, but it just made more sense. I always referred to my dad and my stepmother as my parents, and they really were. My stepmother came into my life when I was 9 years old, okay? And so she really was, I mean, my other surrogate mothers that helped out when my dad was a single dad, but my stepmother, Grandma, as Ada knows her, really was like the main parent, mom. And so I kind of did always refer to Dad and Barb as my parents. But it was so cool because my cousin, I had no pictures. I only had one picture of my adopted mother. One picture, and I don't even know what happened to it. I don't know. I had it when I was a kid. My dad had it framed. It was a black and white photo. I still remember it in my bedroom when I was a little girl. And I still remember, but I don't know what happened to that photo. I don't know. So I didn't have any photos of her at all. None at all. And so this was the most incredible thing that happened to me last night. My cousin, who still lives in Colombia, I believe, sent me photos of my parents, my actual parents. So first time I was like, my parents, my dad, my mom, the ones that adopted me, And so it's just like, it was just incredible to me to see this and to finally see them and to see there's pictures of me as a baby with dachshunds in my aunt's. Okay, I know I showed it like last time. I was like, it brought me to tears when I found these photos because, okay, there's a picture of me and there's my mom. I'm going to say my mom because I never have said that before, but it's kind of nice to say that. There's my mom at my aunt's. It was my grandmother's house at the time. This house that my aunt lives in, as it's been in my family like forever. Forever. I think we jokingly said that I think like you're the 5th generation to stay at that house or something, 5th or 6th generation to stay at that house. Anyways, there I am. There's a photo of me with my mom, 2 Doxies, because like I said in my pet episodes, my family's big into Doxies. So 2 Doxies at the time. Good old Geraldine and Bilbo Baggins are in the picture there, and I'm there with my mom, and I'm in the den area, and it's incredible. It just brought tears to my eyes when I saw those photos, and to also see photos of my parents, my dad, with my mom, and that was just incredible. It brought tears to my eyes. So we're going to post those at the end of this clip, right, Aiden? We're not going to forget because this is so important to me. This brought tears to my eyes, and it was amazing. And anyways, you gotta check out these photos. So now you can see my dad, my dad's first wife, my mom, oh, and I also want to say, Ada, okay, even though she did leave when I was 3 years old, and she went to the mental hospital where she lived the rest of her life. And my dad still, even though they divorced, part of the divorce was my dad still got some of his wages were garnished to go pay for her to stay at that mental hospital. My dad still loved her. You know, it's kind of like when I share the story of my good friend Deadhead Tina, she still loved her first husband. So love never dies, it just changes. She did pass away. My mom passed away in the mental hospital back when I first started in the grooming industry. So Aiden was about 10 years old. So about 6 years ago, she did pass away. So it's just, and I think that's why when my dad passed away, Aiden, I just felt so, lost, because a lot of people have passed away that were so significant in my life. You know, we had my surrogate mother, one of my first surrogate mothers, her name was Mrs. Secretary. I called her Mrs. Secretary because she's my dad's secretary at the church. And so at 3 years old, I didn't know her name. She was just Mrs. Secretary. And everybody at the church called her Mrs. Secretary. So she passed away. I had another great person, Ma, and we had her last name. She passed away with her husband that passed away like 2 days later. So that happened. And we all know Grandma passed away. She passed away. Then my mom passed away in Colombia, and then my dad. So I really felt, I think when my dad passed away, he was like the last one. And I think that's why I went a little cray-cray.
A little.
Yeah.
Just a little.
I know. It's just, and I'm still grieving. I still, yeah. Anyways, let's get to some hat stories. All right, we're gonna do hat time, hat stories. That's probably what we're gonna be doing a lot of these episodes, because I have about I don't know, I think we counted like 4 more stories in this hat. So 4, or what did we count? 8? I think we said 8. 6 or 8, I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Somewhere in there.
But we decided we'll just do a hat. We're actually going to combine the hat and the hope together today. So it's going to be hat story, and then we'll do lovely hope story. Okay, so let's do hat. I'm going to pick today, because I realized, Aiden, you always pick. I never get to pick. So I'm going to pick the story today.
Because you decide.
I know. I do. I always say, you pick, my good sir. I don't know what I do. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm going to pick. Okay. Not going to look. All right. So let's see. Oh, I got 2. Let's put one more. I accidentally got 2. Okay. Okay. This is a really cute one. This is called Nail Trim. All right. So this is a nice one because... Yes, but at least this one doesn't start out with. This one doesn't start out with, we met online, does it? No, it doesn't. Yes. Okay.
True.
So this person I did not meet online. I met organically, as people say, and I was really hoping that that maybe this would work out. I don't know. Anyways, okay. So. I had, I was working at the grooming shop, On Saturdays, there was this guy that would come with this dog, this English bulldog, for a nail trim. Now, nail trims we have 2 different things for nail trims. You either cut the nails, which is just $15, or you Dremel the nails, and that's $20. So Fridays and Saturdays, we get a lot of walk-in nail trims. A lot of people come in. Trust me, I mean, I told Aiden yesterday, I was like, oh, I could have left at 3 o'clock, but no, a nail trim came in and I had to leave at 3:30. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Okay, so nail trims will come in periodically through my work week. This guy was starting to come in. He would come in on Saturdays with his bulldog that was really cool. I mean, back when I was first learning, nails, were really hard for me. It really stressed me out because they have the quicks and they bleed and stuff. So when this bulldog came in for a nail trim, this bulldog was freaking amazing. He actually was like loving nail trims. Like he just like got on the table and he handed me his paw, and I was, and I thought it was the most incredible thing. Like, yeah, you get the Dremel, you have the Dremel on, and you're having it, and he'll just hand you his paw to Dremel his nail. It's the most incredible thing. I remember I showed SB at the time. I'm like, look at this, and his owner was cracking up and everything, and so he would come about once a week, not once a week, sorry, once a month. And his owner, I was like, yeah, I love your guy. It's the coolest bulldog ever. We kind of have this funny, joking rapport, him and his owner. Anyways, this guy was always giving me like $20 tips. Like, yeah, and I was just like, really? The nail trim is like $20. And he's like giving me these $20 tips. And I thought, maybe he likes me. I even told my dad, I was like, Dad, how do I and I even calculated like when he was going to bring his bulldog in for a nail trim because he would bring him in once a month. I know the things I do. He would bring I'm like, I think he's going to bring him in now. I think he's going to bring him for the nail trim. So I was trying to figure out how to, because I have no game. I don't know how to flirt or anything like that. I was trying to figure out how to get his attention or whatnot. Like everyone's just like, why didn't you ask him to coffee? I don't have any game like that. I can't just say, hey, you want to get coffee sometime? I can't do it. So I even thought about like doing like a little note to his dog's collar after the nail trim, call me. I like you. I don't know. I didn't know what to do. So I found him because of course I always go to the internet, right? Always go to the internet. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. I always go to the internet because that's the only way I've ever talked to guys that I've been interested in is the internet. So I found him on Facebook. And this is what even made me fall even more in love with him. Okay, on Facebook, on his page, he had this quote that said, "Everybody is a train wreck. Find one that suits you and just roll with it," or something like that. And I was like, oh God, he's so non-judgmental. I was like, oh, this is so. Anyways, I had to, again, because I have no game and I don't know how to flirt or anything. I had to ask for help to send him a message because I didn't know what to say. I found him on Facebook. I thought, okay, I'm going to send him a message, but what do I say? I have no game. I don't know what I'm doing. So, I asked Sydney, my good young friend. I figure she's young, she's cool, she knows what she's doing. Can you write to him? So Sydney and I have this great sushi. It's called Sushi Station. Love it. We always go there for lunches and stuff. We discovered it a long time ago because at the shop that I worked at with KP, there was a dog named Sushi. Somebody had named their dog Sushi. And Sydney's like, let's go get sushi. And then we discovered this place, and it's called Sushi Station. It's one of those revolving sushi places. And so it has those the little plates that like revolve and you pick your sushi. So we had so here we had I think she had just come into town. That girl up and left me and went to California, but she was in town. And we were meeting at our place, our Sushi Station. That's our place. And I was telling her about this guy and the nail trims and the $20 tips. And my dad was like, he's like, come on, Johanna, he has to like you. He's giving you a tip, a $20 tip, and the nail trim is $20. So I thought, yeah, okay, he does like me. So I was telling Sydney this whole story at our favorite place. But I was scared to send him a message on Facebook Messenger. So here Sydney and I are, after we have our food, and we're sitting in her car, and she's messaging him for me.
Oh my God.
I felt like I was in junior high again.
Goodness.
I really did. I felt like I was in junior high again. And I was having my friend from school. It's after school. We come home after school and we're like, call so-and-so and tell him you like him. It was kind of like that. And so anyway, she sent this cute message. It's like, oh, I didn't expect to see Rudy's dad on here. That was the dog's name, Rudy. And thank you so much for all those generous tips and all this stuff. So we sent that message. I didn't hear anything from him. He came in again for the nail trim like he always does. And I was just like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, I'm so embarrassed, but you have to be a professional. You have to be an adult. And so I did the nail trim, and he tipped me $5. So he tipped me $5 because, yeah, and that was his message of telling me that he wasn't interested. I was embarrassed. I was so embarrassed when he sent me that $5. And after that, you remember LB when he would come in for nail trims? I was still mortified and embarrassed that I did that. So I would, when he'd come in for nail trims, I would say to LB, I'd hide behind LB and I'd be like, can you go do the nail trim? But now, Aiden, now, I mean, it's so funny because it's like when I saw him again, like after he still comes, they still come for nail trims. And it's funny because now when I see him after my dad passed away, I had the mooch, I had to get the restraining order, the order of protection, all that stuff. It's just, I could care less now. So when I see this guy, and you know what? He has a girlfriend, so maybe that's why he wasn't interested. I met his girlfriend a couple weeks ago, and now I'm completely comfortable with him. I'm like, hi, what's up? Because who cares? But that was nail trim. So I tried. I really did. I tried to meet somebody organically, but yeah. I kind of do miss the $20 tips, though. Yeah. I felt bad. I went down, and now I think other people, I think they only get $5 too because of me. Sorry. But, you know, that was me trying. I tried. I did. I really did. He wasn't online. Yeah. All right. So the story that I'm going to be sharing today is a great story. This couple is about to celebrate in November, which is kind of nice. That's when my dad and my dad got married the second time to my stepmother was in November as well. So in November, they're going to be celebrating, I know, can you believe this, Ruby? 45 years. I know. Some people really got it made, right? They don't have a whole list of 12 guys on a list. No, they've been married for 45 years. They don't have to do a YouTube channel or have a list. Okay. So I'm going to be telling the story of my consultant and her wonderful husband, Mr. D. Now, this has happened back in the 70s. Yeah. And they were at the U of A. Now, she had already been at the U of A for over a year. And here's another thing that's pretty cool. She was friends with one of his cousins. And it was a cousin that introduced the two of them. So she had been at the U of A for a year. And at registration, that's when she met Mr. D. Was at registration, and his cousin was one of her friends. And so it was really it was nice. And the cool thing is it wasn't like me, where it's like you meet and you just rush away. No, it wasn't like that. They met, they hung out, she would see him occasionally at parties and things like that. But it wasn't really until one party in particular that Mr. D really stood out to her, and that they kind of really connected. I thought it was kind of cool that they would kind of see each other casually and never know that was the one. I love that. I'm such a hopeless romantic. So when I found out that she would just, after she met him, she would occasionally see him throughout the year, I thought it was kind of cool, you know, never knowing that this was going to be the great love of her life. I just think that's pretty cool. Anyway, so she met him at, there was one party in particular. She was having a discussion, a debate, religious debate. I know. Why did we get into these religious debates? So she was getting into a religious debate. Mr. D stepped in, and then they just kind of started talking ever since there. Their first date, I thought this was also so adorably cute, and I just love this. And because this would be my ideal first date too, is their first date. They just drove around. He asked her out on a date after the party, and their first date, they went to, they didn't just drive around first. Sorry. This is why I have my glasses still on so we can read this. Okay. So their first date, he asked me on a date to go to Mount Lemmon. Okay. You know, Mount Lemmon there in Tucson. Anyways, Mount Lemmon for that weekend. And she thought that was cool and different. She thought that that was really cool and different. And like I said, they also just drove around that whole night until the sun came up. So, and the cool thing that I noticed a lot about my consultant Elle and Mr. D is the fact that they really do seem like they're friends. I mean, they really are really good friends. Another thing that they did share with me, or she shared with me, that was a good key to their relationship, is the fact that they had very different lives. You know, they had two very different careers, and so they kind of would go off and to do their two different things, you know, and then they would come together and have these great discussions. And I kind of like that. You know, I like that. I don't ever want to lose myself in a relationship. I have in the past. I don't ever want, you know, you don't want to lose who you are and the things that you're interested in. And they didn't do that. They both pursued their goals separately, and then would come back together. And she just knew after the first date that there was something really special about him. They have two daughters. They have two beautiful kids, two beautiful grandkids. So they're grandparents as well. They've been through a lot, but they are each other's best friends. I love to watch them talking. When I stayed with them earlier this year, and the whole war with Ukraine just started out. It was really cool to watch Mr. D kind of discussing with Mrs. L over there about the whole. I watched it just from the kitchen. They didn't. I like to observe people when they're not noticing. I watched them talking, and they were just. And he was explaining the whole why Putin is so intent on ruining Ukraine and really wants that waterfront. And she was just listening intently. And I thought that's what I want. You know, I want that. I want to have great discussions and a good friendship and that sort of thing. And the great thing is also about Miss L is her grandparents, her dad, they were tied in with our family on a border town. I come from a small town. Okay, Mr. D comes from a small town. My aunt we come from a small town. Everybody knows everybody. If you don't know them, you're probably related to them. Sometimes there's people, my dad used to run into people and he didn't even know he was related to them. Okay, this is a small border town and everybody's related to. So it was very easy for her when she met Mr. D, especially because, you know, her friend was his cousin, to just really, they meshed well together. She just kind of and I you know, I love her, you know, and then she just meshes with our family so well. We just I didn't even know the story of how they met. Like I tried to tell, I asked my aunt because I have just reconnected with my consultant Elle. This is one of the things that I have discovered with my whole Johanna Banana is I've reconnected with a lot of people that I took for granted and didn't, you know, things get caught up and you lose time and stuff. So my consultant Elle, Mr. D, I reconnected with them. My cousin with the pool, reconnected with her. An old childhood friend, reconnected with her. Like I said in my other clip earlier, with my cousin sending me those awesome photos. So it's been really nice. And that's what you got to do when you're grieving and you're screwed up with guys. Look around you, look at family, look at friends, so you don't feel so alone, you know. And so, but anyways, off track again, back to their story. The Miss L, my consultant Elle, meshed so well with our family that when I asked my aunt how L and D met, she didn't even know. She's just like, she's been part of our family for years. Like she didn't even know the whole thing. And so that's really cool about their, I kind of feel like because of that, maybe they were meant to be because I'm so romantic. So maybe because her grandparents and her dad were, you know, already kind of enmeshed with our family, they were meant to be. I don't know. That's, see, my fairy tale thinking. But I want to say that was meant to be, that was what it was. that they were meant to be because of that. But it's awesome. I mean, it's incredible that they are about to be married for 45 years and have been there, done that, lived through it all, laughed, cried, and they have been their best friends. And okay, I will also want to share something that is also cute, because I do talk a lot about my consultant L and Mr. D, two family friends, whatnot. And I'm friends with, or my other cousin with the pool is his younger sister. So when I was telling her that I was saving the best for last, which is this story of D and L, she was saying, she's like, they're so cute. They're like the best of friends, but they're not like really affectionate or anything, which is good. So yes, they don't do a lot of PDA apparently. Like some of our other family members, and his little sister does appreciate that. But, I think she did something cute when I was telling her this story of Mr. D and Mr. L, and I was telling her how I observed that wonderful conversation that Mr. D had with Mrs. L. She's like, they're just so stinking perfect. And you know what she did? She went, have you seen anybody do this in a long time? And I thought, she really is his little sister, because she's still kind of like, my brother and his wife, like they're just so stinking cute, and it was so cute and funny when she said that to me, that I just had to share that with you guys, because that was adorable. I have not seen anybody do that in a long time. And when I was talking about how I just loved watching Mr. D and L talk about the war in Ukraine and how he's explained it to her really well, and she was just intently listening. I thought, oh, that's just such love, and I was telling her that story, and she's like, that's them, they're just anyways, it's cute. So they're about to be married for 45 years, and the keys to their relationship, I think, is great discussions, letting themselves be themselves, going off and doing their own thing. I never get the sense that they ever try to control one another, and I think that's awesome. That's what I want. I think that's something that I want, because I'm definitely very free-spirited, and I have a sense that in a lot of my relationships, guys have tried to change me. I've probably tried to change them too. So you need to find somebody that you mesh well with. I was thinking, I thought, after all this, maybe I should start my own online dating site, and I'm going to call it Mesh, because you really need to find somebody that you mesh well with. And Mr. D and my consultant L, they mesh well. Maybe it's because our families from the beginning of time were meshed together. I don't know. But these two people mesh well. And that's what I want. I want to mesh with somebody. Mesh. Mesh, Ruby. Mesh. Anyways, thank you so much for sharing that story. I love you guys so much. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for watching another episode of Johanna Banana. I guess Ruby's done. She's over it. She's like, I'm turning my back. I'm done. Stories are done, and I'm done. Okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you, DNL, for sharing your story. I just want to say something really quick, and I should have mentioned this. Why does Aiden have this big, huge, enormous Band-Aid on his forehead?
Yes.
Aiden, please explain.
I have a really bad, I have this skin condition.
Eczema?
And there's a really bad spot here.
Yeah.
So I eventually just said, why not just bandage it?
Yes, because he keeps itching it, and it keeps getting irritated and stuff.
Yeah.
So we're trying to just put a Band-Aid on it so he won't itch it. Eczema sucks. Eczema sucks. It really does. So anyways, thank you for watching.